Hello, Facebook Live. Marcus here again. Second Facebook Live within the last hour and a half, 2 hours. I've done my Facebook Live last night was on crystals on the mountain and the fault line, and I'm actually here right now. So I wanted to show you where that was. Had some people asking, and a couple people private messaged me, and so there were some comments last night like, "Where is this? Where can you access it at?" And so I'm on the mountain right now, out for my my run, and today's day number 500 of running. So I'm just doing a couple miles on Smiley Road today. So I am up 0.6 of a mile up on the trail right now. Gonna be heading back here soon. I'm on my way back down, but I wanted to show everybody where that fault line is. Now, Ellenville has Sam's Point, Ice Cave Mountains. Ice Cave Mountains are the commercial side of the mountain. That's where you can go park in the parking lot, hike around the loop, go into the ice caves. That's the commercial part of the mountain. But there's also the wild part of the mountain, which is the Grand Canyon and the Shingle Gully. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now, because the fault line is actually that right behind me. This is the beginning of the fault line, folks. Ellenville is right down there. Smiley Road Trailhead, Berm Road, is 0.6 of a mile that way. And that right there, folks, is the beginning of the fault line. So this fault line here is the largest fault line in North America with corresponding ice caves year-round. Once you take this up, now I don't advise you do this yourself. You need to go to Sam's Point. You need to get on a guided hike, all right? Don't take a dog up there either. Taking pets up there, dogs up there. I made that mistake once. I took 2 border collies up into the Shingle Gully, and we didn't get far, and the dogs were freaking out, and I ended up having to carry back 2 dogs, 2 border collies, because once they were fine going up, but when they looked down, they got pretty freaked out. So this is not something for dogs to do. So you have to do this with a guide, with a docent from the state. I am actually a docent with the state. I've done some official tours up there with people. It has to be booked ahead of time. We have to get the date approved. And there's a handful of us that do this for the state, because the state does not want you going up there. The trails are not marked. He wants to go up. The trails are not marked, and you can get lost. So I'm just going to turn the camera around here and show you this fault line. So now exactly, I am 0.6 of a mile up on Smiley Road. So I came up the Smiley Carriage Trail, 0.6 of a mile. That's it from the Ellenville side. All right. Look at these rock formations here. Look how that is. How this earth just folds down, and you can see the earth right there. Right here, folks, is how you'd walk up into, and it's not an easy walk. This is a strenuous 2,000-foot incline that you're going to get up into the Grand Canyon. And the way that you would actually get up in there is you actually have to go to the side here, and down there a little bit, there's actually a sort of an unofficial trail. But you're going to look at this right here and figure out how you're going to get up this. Either side of this will work. I suggest going down there a little bit. And there are a couple ways to actually get into the fault line besides going on Smiley Road. There's a way through Sam's Point. Right here is probably the way you want to go up to the left-hand side there. You can see there's a little bit of foot traffic there. And that's it. But you can just look how these rocks are just folded down in on each other. This is really an amazing, amazing thing right here, this fault line. Again, it's the largest fault line in North America with year-round corresponding ice caves. Look it up. It's there. Look up the Ellenville fault line. There's magic up there, folks. There's a lot of magic up there. They call it the Grand Canyon of the Gunks. The Grand Canyon of the Gunks, it is... it's an amazing gash in the earth that if you actually go on right now onto Google, go onto the internet, Google Grand Canyon of the Gunks, and above here you will see this aerial shots and these canyons, these immense canyons and aerial shots of the Grand Canyon of the Gunks up there. If you were to go up further up Smiley Road here to another 0.8 of a mile, you come to a small little footbridge and water that comes out of a tree stump. out of the roots. There's a little waterfall that comes out of there. When you look up that, it looks like that, and you want to go up that, and that's how you get into the Shingle Gully. When you get up into the Shingle Gully, if you go in, up and out, you can cross over and get to this canyon, to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon's that way up there. You get up into the Grand Canyon, and from there, you can hike all the way down the Grand Canyon on the top and the bottom, and end up down here back on Berm Road, on Smiley Road. This is about, if you wanted to go up into the middle part of the canyon from Berm Road, it's about a 6-mile hike, around 6 miles. If you want to hit both canyons, go in the bottom and go out and up, and go into the Shingle Gully, in and out and up, you're probably looking at more like 8-9 mile hike. And because the trail here, now again, you don't do this yourself, folks. You go to Sam's Point, you get onto a registered hike. You do not want to get lost up there. It's hard to pull people out, especially if you get hurt. There's a lot of crevices, a lot of cracks. It's not recommended you go up there by yourself. If you get hurt up there, if you end up at a spot where you're not supposed to get hurt, it's very hard for them to rescue and get you out of this part of the mountain. This is why they call it the wild part of the mountain. Steve Aaron's saying, access restricted to guided hikes organized by Sam's Point. You must call Sam's Point and do this. Do not do this yourself. But this is where it is. So it's very close to Ellenville. And folks, I'm a guide for Sam's Point. I've been up there many times, and I've gotten lost, and I still do get lost. The trail just disappears on you. You're like, oh my gosh. Then all of a sudden you find yourself bushwhacking, going without a trail, and trying to figure out where you have to go next. And of course, once you're up there and looking down, the only obvious way is down. But when you're coming down, there's stuff like that coming down, and you want to make sure you stay on the trail so you avoid falling, slipping, sliding, falling into cracks and crevices. But this fault line, go on to Google, everybody. If everybody's near a computer right now or the internet, go on and search Grand Canyon of the Gunks. Take that link to one of the aerial shots and just drop it in the comments here. That'd be really cool if somebody could do that right now, so people can see what we're talking about. But you can see this huge gash. This is an open fault line. This is an open fault line. I remember as a kid here, we had an active earthquake in Ellenville in the early 80s. As a kid, we moved here from Colorado, and the ground started shaking at 2 a.m. The house started shaking. I'm like, what's going on here? Turns out we moved into where a fault line is. No really major activity here happens, or it hasn't happened for a while, or there's very small activity. So it's not like, bigger fault lines where you're pulling these huge magnitude quakes. Nothing like that. But this is indeed a fault line. It is a fault line, the largest in North America, open exposed fault line with year-round ice caves. You can go up there in August and go in to some of these caves up there, and there is ice up there. There is snow up there. It is cold in there. So it's easy to find their year-round ice caves. Anthony's saying, Anthony, this is a great hike, Anthony. Have you ever been up here before, Anthony? I know Steve has. Steve's been all over the mountain. Folks, Steve Aaron, who just made a comment here about access restricted to guided hikes. Steve, if you're on still, drop a link to your calendar. I don't know if you did a calendar this year. If you want to see some of the best pictures of the Shwangunks and the Catskills, Steve makes a calendar most years, and he just takes some incredible shots. And he is always out on the trails, probably several times a month. A couple times a month, Steve is out on the trails, taking pictures, hiking, exploring a bunch of these places. So that is, you can, I'm not even sure, Steve, what if you have a website or just look up Steve Aaron Photography. So just, if you're still listening, Steve, just pop a link in there. Have to look it up. Steve has captured some amazing images whenever he goes out. Really done a great job. So I'm out here today for my 500th day in a row of running. Just doing a couple miles today. I wanted to do a much longer run, and things got carried away at the restaurant. Orders came in, deliveries. People popped in to see me. Construction, this kind of stuff. So I just got carried away. He is waiting to run some more. That's Barolo. Barolo is waiting patiently to get back on the trails here. So the neat thing about, oh good, John dropped a link to Steve there. Good. Yeah, John dropped a link there to Steve's page. So, what was I going to say before I got sidetracked here? The dog's tapping me like he wants to go. He's ready to rock and roll. That's Barolo, the border collie. So yeah, Anthony, let's arrange a hike and get up here and check this out. I just have to tell the state we're coming up here and register it, and we can do a private hike. just so they know we're here in case something happens. Again, folks, do not go into this area without letting the Sam's Point. Do not go in this area without contacting Sam's Point and getting on a registered hike with a tour guide. You do not want to go up there. It gets very treacherous. As a kid, I grew up here in Ellenville, and I got to tell you, we never went up into here. We came up into Smiley. We rode our mountain bikes to Minnewaska back and forth. We came up onto the mountain here, to the trailhead here. But we never, ever, as kids, went up there. And a lot of locals don't know about this. A lot of the locals that are here, and having the restaurant for the last 16 years, 17 years, people would come and say, oh yeah, I just hiked Sam's Point. I just hiked the Wild Caves. I'm thinking for years, like, what do you mean the Wild Caves? You know, the Grand, and finally one day a friend goes, Marcus, this is several years back. Let's go up there. Let's go up there and do a hike. And I'm like, okay, I'm up for this. I've been on this trail many times, by the way, and I'd never gone up that. And so some friends and I went up there one day, and I was like, this is what I've been missing my whole life here in Ellenville. And it's just an amazing, amazing world. And people come from all over the Northeast to hike into these canyons up here. Sam's Point is one thing, folks. This is the wild part of the caves that we're talking about here, the wild part of the mountain. This is the fault line, Grand Canyon of the Gunks. Again, just do a quick search, Google search for Grand Canyon of the Gunks, and you'll find some amazing images. I'm gonna get back to running here. We're open tonight. It's buy one, get one free pizza. Buy one, get one. And Jamie's gonna be doing her happy hour pretty soon here. And that's it. There's Barolo. Barolo is ready to rock and roll. You ready to go run? You ready to go run? Let's go. Let's go run. All right, folks, I got to get out of here.